Hello, everyone. Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening. I am Christine Andrea B.S. Paragara, your first discussant in Group 4. Today, I'll be talking about genetic disorder. But before anything else, may I present to you the learning objectives. First, students will be able to define and explain genetic disorder. Second, students will be able to discuss the different developmental factors of genetic disorder. And lastly, students will be able to reflect about how genetic disorder affects everyone. Pregnancy is a complex process and can sometimes result in the development of an abnormal fetus. In fact, nearly 3% of all deliveries are associated with a major birth defect. Abnormal fetal development can result from either developmental factors or genetic disorder. Let us define what is genetic disorder. So, genetic disorder is a medical condition caused by an abnormalities in an individual's DNA which can result in various health problems. A category of diseases that includes certain types of birth defects, chronic diseases, developmental problems, and sensory deficits that are inherited from one or both parents. Genetic disorders occur when a mutation or a harmful change to a gene, also known as a pathogenic variant, affects your genes or when you have the wrong amount of genetic material. Genes are made of DNA or deoxyribonucleic acid, which contain instructions for cell functioning and the characteristics that makes you unique. You receive half your genes from each biological parent and may inherit a gene mutation from one parent or both. Sometimes, genes change due to issues within the DNA or the mutations. This can raise your risk of having a genetic disorder. Some cause symptoms at birth, while others develop over time. In a typical human, there are 22 pairs of autosomes or non-sex chromosomes and one pair of chromosomes, which one chromosome from each pair is inherited from each parent. Genetic disorders are a much more common cause of abnormal fetal development and are associated with 20 to 25% of birth defects. In fact, 42% of spontaneously aborted fetus are associated with a genetic disorder. Genetic disorders are also the cause of nearly 4,000 different human diseases. So sinasabi dito na yung genetic disorders is ayun yung reason or yung cause ng bakit nagkakaroon or umaabot na sa 4,000 different human diseases. Genetic disorders can be chromosal, complex or multifactorial, and single gene or monogenic. So first, let us define what is chromosal. So chromosal, this type affects the structures that hold your genes or DNA with each cell or chromosomes. With these conditions, people are missing or have duplicated chromosome material. Chromosomal disorders are a type of genetic disorder that develop because of a change in one or more of your child's genes. Chromosomes are the part of DNA cells that contains genes. Any changes in your child's chromosomes could cause a chromosomal disorder. Next is the complex or multifactorial. These disorders stem from a combination of gene mutations and other factors. They include chemical exposure, diet, certain medications, and tobacco or alcohol use. Although complex disorders often cluster in families, they do not have a clear-cut pattern of inheritance. It may be difficult to identify the role of genetics in these disorders, particularly because families often also share environments and may have some lifestyle. This makes it difficult to determine a person's risk of inheriting, of passing on these disorders. Complex disorders are also difficult to study and treat. Why? Because the specific factors that cause most of these disorders have not yet been identified. Researchers continue to look for major contributing genes for many common complex disorders. And lastly, single gene or monogenic. This group of conditions occurs from a single gene mutation. Single gene disorders are among the most well understood genetic disorders given their straightforward inheritance patterns, recessive or dominant, and relatively simple genetic etiology. Although the majority of these diseases are rare, in total, they affect millions. Some of the more common single gene disorders includes cystic fibrosis, hemochromatosis, Tay-Sachs, and sickle cell anemia. Let's proceed to the developmental factor. Developmental factors are associated with 10% of all birth defects. Developmental factors can be due to a teratogenic agent, infectious agent, or rubella virus and herpes virus, or metabolic disorder that includes diabetes and phenylketonuria. Teratogenic agent exposure is seen in less than 50% of all birth defects. Information important to teratogenic exposure defects includes the agent type, dose, length of exposure, and developmental stage at the same time of exposure. Next is the chromosome number disorders. There are several types of chromosome number disorders that can occur among the autosomes. The general term for an abnormal number of chromosomes is what we call aneuploidy. So what is aneuploidy? Aneuploidy refers to any chromosome number that is not an exact multiple of the haploid number of chromosomes, which is 23 in humans. If non-disjunction occurs, where chromosomes fail to separate or disjoin properly, two specific types of aneuploidy can occur. These are monosomy and trisomy. So now, let us define what is monosomy. So monosomy involves the presence of a single copy of a particular chromosome in diploid organism. Typically leads to severe developmental abnormalities and is often not compatible with life. A monosomy occurs when a person has too few chromosomes. The name refers to the fact that there is one unpaired chromosome or partial chromosome in the genome. Mono comes from the Greek for one. The causes of monosomy begin in the parents of the affected offspring. Sometimes goes wrong in either mom or dad cells that produce gametes or reproductive sex cells with incorrect chromosomes. Monosomy or partial monosomy causes certain human diseases such as Turner syndrome and Cri-du-Chat syndrome. The second one is the trisomy. The correct pronunciation for this is trisomy. Involves the presence of an extra copy of a particular chromosome. Kung kanina ang monosomy is a single, ngayon naman sa trisomy is may extra copy of a particular chromosome. It is more commonly observed and can lead to genetic disorders such as trisomy 21 or what we call Down syndrome are survivable. Chromosomes are structures within the nucleus of cells that carry DNA, which is a thread-like structure that makes you unique. Your body has 23 pairs of chromosomes from each of your parents. When your body has an extra copy of a chromosome, or tinatawag nating trisomy, your body has 47 total chromosomes. Trisomy can result in a full-term baby but most often causes a miscarriage during the first 3 months. So, pwede ka pang mag-suffer ng miscarriage. A person with trisomy will have 47 chromosomes instead of 46. Trisomy pregnancies can result a live birth but may end prematurely and miscarriage. You can't prevent trisomy conditions because they occur spontaneously and your risk of having a child with a trisomy condition increase after age of 35. There are two additional important terms related to chromosomal number disorder. These are the polyploidy and triploidy. So let's proceed to polyploidy. So the term polyploidy is a general term for a chromosomal alteration in which an organism has two or more complete sets. The prefix poly means many and the term ploidy indicates set of chromosomes. So pag pinagsama o pinagsama mo yung polyploidy, ang ibig sabihin nun is many sets of chromosomes. It refers to the presence of more than two complete sets of chromosomes in an organism cells. While most of the humans are diploid, meaning they have two sets of chromosomes or tinatawag nating 2N, polyploid organisms may have 3 or tinatawag natin na triploid or 3N, 4 or tinatawag nating tetraploid or 4N, or more sets of chromosome. Polyploid is relatively less common in animals, including humans. Polyploidy arises as a result of non-disjunction in human cells. Non-disjunction happens when members of a pair of homologous chromosomes fail to separate during meiosis. In humans, this condition is lethal. Let's proceed to the triploidy. Triploidy is a rare chromosomal abnormality. Triploidy is the presence of an additional set of chromosomes in the cell for a total of 69 chromosomes rather than the normal chromosomes per cell. Isipin nyo, yung may triploidy has a 69 chromosomes, while dapat ang normal chromosomes lang ng isang tao is 46. The extra set of chromosomes comes either from the father or the mother during fertilization. Pregnancies with triploidy are usually miscarried early in the pregnancy. If the pregnancy continues to term, the infant dies within the first days of life. So, pwedeng mamatay yung baby sa sinapupunan mo. Infants affected with complete triploidy have growth restriction and multiple birth defects. A few affected individuals have been reported to have survived to adulthood, but had developmental delay, learning difficulties, seizures, hearing loss, and other abnormalities. Yung mga taong nakakaranas ng triploidy is nakakaranas sila ng developmental delay. Pwedeng yung nagsisizure sila, mahirap sila, like hindi sila madaling makaunawa or yung learning difficulties nila. Tapos yung mahirap sila, nagkakaroon sila ng difficulties sa hearing or mawawalan sila ng hearing and other abnormalities pa. Individuals who survive have mosaic triploidy, meaning that some cells have the normal number of 46 chromosomes and other cells have 69 chromosomes per cell. Tingnan nyo baga yung agwat or gap nung 46 chromosomes tapos 69 chromosomes per cell. Example of autosomal chromosome number disorder is the Down syndrome. Are you familiar with Down syndrome? Or you have encountered person with Down syndrome? Yes or no? Syempre yes. We have encountered, or for my own experience, I've encountered many people or person have Down syndrome. So, Down syndrome has two types, which is the non-disjunction and translocation. First, we will discuss about the non-disjunction. So, trisomy 21 or tinatawag nating Down syndrome is typically related to non-disjunction during meiotic division. If non-disjunction is related to material side, material age is a significant factor. Older mothers have a higher risk of giving birth to a child with trisomy 21. So, sinasabi dito na yung mga older mother is may possibilities or may malaking tsansa na magbibigay sila ng birth or they give birth to a child na merong trisomy 21 or merong Down syndrome na tinatawag. Why? Bakit kaya? Bakit kaya may possibilities na yung mga older mother should have or have give birth or gave birth to a child with Down syndrome? It because the chances of non-disjunction increase with maternal age. Lastly is the translocation. These forms of Down syndrome is less common and occurs when a portion of chromosome 21 breaks off and attaches itself to another chromosome, usually chromosome 14. This type can be hereditary and may involve a rearrangement of genetic material between different chromosomes. The genetic material from the extra 21 chromosome is what causes the health problems in people with Down syndrome. In translocation Down syndrome, the extra 21 chromosomes may be attached to the 14 chromosome, or it could be attached to other chromosome numbers like 13, 15, or 22. Two 21 chromosomes can be attached to each other in some cases. It's important to note that translocation Down syndrome is not typically associated with maternal age, but may have a familial genetic component. A small number of babies born with Down syndrome have translocation Down syndrome. There are no big differences between the children who have translocation Down syndrome compared with those who have three separate copies of chromosome 21, or should we call trisomy 12. Whenever a translocation is found in a child, the parents' chromosomes are looked at to find out whether the translocation was inherited. So, tinetest din yung parents chromosome nung baby para malaman kung nasa lahi ba talaga or inherited or napapasa ba talaga. Whenever a translocation is found in a child, the parents' chromosomes are looked at to find out whether the translocation was inherited. So, pag nalaman nila na yung baby is may translocation Down syndrome, ititest nila yung parents' chromosome para malaman kung galing ba sa parents nila yung tinatawag nilang translocation Down syndrome, or napasa ba mula sa parents to offspring yung tinatawag nilang translocation. If one parent has the translocation chromosome, then the healthcare provider knows the baby inherited the translocation from the parent. So, pag nalaman sa test or lumabas sa result na yung isang parent mo is my translocation, masasabi nila na the baby inherited the translocation from that specific parent or from one parent. That parent will actually have 45 total chromosomes in each cell of the body, but the parent will be healthy. This is because that parent still has only 2 copies of each chromosome, but 2 of these chromosomes are attached to each other. When a person has rearrangement of chromosome material with no extra or missing chromosome material, the person is said to have a balanced translocation. That person can also be a balanced translocation carrier. So, pwede rin siya maging carrier. So, pwede rin sa kanya yung siya yung magdadala nung balanced translocation. Or sinasabi nating translocation Down syndrome. Parents with balanced translocation, or it is a natural conception in live births, is possible in cases of balanced translocation, but those with the condition may have more difficulty conceiving and are at a greater risk of recurrent miscarriage than those without it. So, it may occur they have trouble getting pregnant. So, may possibilities na magkaroon ng trouble na maging preggy ang isang mother and suffer miscarriages. So, may possibilities din na ang isang mother or isang girl is makaka-experience o magsasuffer siya ng um, miscarriage or pagkakaano ng baby, pagkakalaglag ng baby. And the last is have a higher chance of having a child with health problems. Nakasurvive naman yung baby sa pagpapanganak sa kanya, but may consequence na mafe-face ang parents. Magkakaroon ng health problems ang babies. For example, heart diseases, diabetes, mga ganyang health problems. Down syndromes can result in a variety of physical, intellectual, and developmental expressions. The specific features and their degree of severity may differ from one individual to another. So, the conclusion, a genetic disorder is a medical condition caused by an abnormalities in an individual's DNA which can result in various health problems. A category of diseases that includes certain types of birth defects, chronic diseases, developmental problems, and sensory deficits that are inherited from one or both parents. Some chromosomal number disorders are aneuploidy, polyploidy, and triploidy. Aneuploidy consists of two types, the monosomy and the trisomy. The example of autosomal chromosome disorder is the Down syndrome. It includes the non-disjunction and translocation. So that's all for my discussion. I hope you have learned something from me. And I am Christine Andrea B. Esparagera, your discussant for today. Have a nice day.